If you've ever spent an entire day at the beach, you probably know that it's usually not the beach itself that ruins the experience. It's all the little things. Your phone dies, your towel won't stay in place, your drink gets warm, or you simply forget that one small item that would have made the whole day so much better. So hey, Johannes from GearUpYourLife here. It's been almost 40 degrees here for the last couple of weeks, which means I've spent a lot of time testing different beach gear. The only rule for today's list was simple. Not a single product costs more than $60, and most of them are actually much cheaper because I don't think you should have to spend a fortune just to enjoy a great beach day. So here are 16 beach essentials that I genuinely think are worth bringing this summer. Let's get into it. Our first beach essential is this Tomtoc Aviator T33 chest bag, and I think this is actually the perfect product to start with because in my opinion, one of the most annoying things you can bring to the beach in summer is a full-size backpack, especially when it's 35 or even 40 degrees outside. It gets hot, it sticks to your back, and for most beach days, you simply don't need that much space anyway. That's exactly why I like using a smaller sling like this. This is the 2.5 liter version. It usually costs around $40 to $45, and for that price, I think Tomtoc once again delivers really strong value. It's lightweight, comfortable, water repellent, has smooth zippers, a clean design, and just enough organization for the things I actually want to carry at the beach. You get a front pocket with a key leash, a main compartment with a mesh pocket, and some open space plus a hidden pocket on the back that's great for things like your wallet, passport, or other valuables. For me, this is perfect for carrying my phone, keys, wallet, sunglasses, sunscreen, a small power bank, earbuds, and even something like my Evervessel Mini or another small bottle. Now obviously this won't replace a backpack if you're carrying towels, clothes, or food for multiple people, but if you're just going to the beach for a few hours, I think a sling like this together with the very last product on this list is honestly enough for most people, and that's exactly why it's the first product in my beach setup. Our second beach essential is a good travel towel, and this one right here is from Sea to Summit. And what I really like about it is that it basically doubles as both a towel and a beach blanket, which means I don't have to pack two separate products. Compared to a normal beach towel, it packs down incredibly small, dries surprisingly quickly, and barely takes up any space inside my backpack or suitcase. You can either keep it inside its little stuff box or simply throw it directly into your bag without it taking up much room at all. Despite being so compact once you unfold it, it's large enough to comfortably lie on at the beach, dry yourself off after a swim, or even use it during a picnic or while relaxing in a park. Depending on the size, it usually costs around $25 to $30, and personally, I think it's one of the best travel towels I've used so far. Now, if you're looking for something a little more affordable, I can also recommend this towel here from 4Monster. It usually costs around $10, packs down just as small, and is still a really solid option. It's simply a bit smaller, and overall I think the Sea to Summit performs better in most areas, which is why it's the one I personally bring on almost every trip. Our next beach essential is this Hydro Flask coffee bottle, and what I really like about it is that unlike many other bottles, it works incredibly well for both hot and cold drinks. It's compact enough to almost feel like carrying a normal coffee cup, but thanks to the leak-proof flex zip lid, I can simply throw it into my sling bag without worrying about spills. Whether it's coffee in the morning while watching the sunrise at the beach or an ice-cold drink later in the afternoon, this bottle handles both without any problems. It keeps hot drinks hot for hours and cold drinks cold just as well, all while staying compact and easy to carry. Usually costs around $30. And if you're someone who regularly drinks both coffee and water while traveling, I genuinely think it's worth it because it basically replaces two bottles. Now if you're only looking for a bottle for cold drinks, I'd probably still go with something like the Owala FreeSip. It holds more water, the FreeSip lid is fantastic for staying hydrated throughout the day, and it's still one of my favorite water bottles for traveling. But if I could only bring one bottle to the beach, this Hydro Flask would definitely be my choice. Our next beach essential is this tiny INIU P81 power bank, and I don't really see this as a power bank for charging all of your devices all day long. For me, it's much more of a small emergency backup. Maybe your phone is running low on battery after taking photos all day, or of course because of the heat, your Apple Watch is almost dead after tracking your swim, or you brought your iPad or Kindle to read a book on the beach and just need a little extra power before heading home. That's exactly where this little power bank shines. Despite being small enough to clip onto your keys or simply leave inside your sling bag, it still has enough capacity to fully charge most phones once, charge your Apple Watch multiple times, or give your iPad a useful battery boost when you need it most. It also comes with a built-in USB-C cable, so you don't even have to carry an extra charging cable with you. At around $25, I honestly think it's one of those products that's simply nice to have. Our next beach essential is the JBL Clip 5, and I honestly think a small portable speaker is one of those products that can completely change the atmosphere of a beach day. Whether you're listening to music, a podcast, or even an audiobook while relaxing by the water, it simply makes the whole experience a little more enjoyable. What I particularly like about the Clip 5 is that it's also perfect for traveling. You can either clip it onto your backpack, beach bag, or even your towel bag, or simply throw it inside your sling bag without it taking up much space. Despite its compact size, I genuinely think it sounds more than good enough for almost every beach day. Unless you're trying to host a beach party for 30 people, the volume and sound quality are honestly all most travelers will ever need. It also has excellent battery life, is fully waterproof, and from my personal experience, JBL speakers tend to last for years without any issues. Now this is actually the only product in today's video that goes slightly over our budget, usually costing around $60. Considering that you'll probably use it at the beach, while traveling, at home, in the shower, or even on hikes, I personally think it's one of those products that's absolutely worth spending a little extra on. Our next beach essential is this water ball from Woboba. And unlike most of the products in today's video, this one doesn't really solve a problem, simply there to make your beach day more fun. The ball is small enough to easily fit inside your sling bag, weighs almost nothing, and even changes color after spending some time in the sun, which I think is a pretty fun little detail. But of course the best part is that it's designed to bounce across the water. And after trying it a couple of times, I honestly understand why these things are so popular. Whether you're at the beach with friends, your partner, or family, it's one of those products that's incredibly simple but surprisingly fun to use. It usually costs around $10, so it's definitely not a huge investment. And while I probably wouldn't bring it on every single trip, whenever I know I'll have a little extra space in my bag, I almost always throw it in because it has already created some really fun moments at the beach. Our next beach essential is this portable fan from JISULIFE, and I absolutely love this little thing. Especially over the last couple of weeks when temperatures here have been close to 40 degrees almost every day, I've used it far more than I ever expected. It folds down into a really compact size, so it easily fits inside a sling bag or backpack, and once you open it up, you can choose between 3 different fan speeds, depending on how much airflow you need. It also has surprisingly good battery life, and even includes a small flashlight in the bottom, which obviously isn't the main reason to buy it, but it's actually pretty handy if you're trying to find something inside your bag at night or walking back from the beach after sunset. At usually under $15 in the US, I genuinely think it's one of the best value products on today's list. You probably wouldn't think to bring something like this at first, but once you're sitting on a hot beach, waiting at a ferry terminal, or standing in a long line under the sun, you really start to appreciate having it with you. And once you've used it a couple of times, you'll probably wonder why you didn't buy one sooner. Our next beach essential is this little Osprey ultralight wallet, and even though Osprey calls it a wallet, I don't actually use it as one. Instead, I use it as a small organizer inside my sling bag. It usually holds things like a few coins, some cash, spare SD cards, adapters, receipts, or any of those little items that would otherwise end up floating around inside my bag. What makes it especially useful for the beach is that it's lightweight, water resistant, and keeps everything in one place. So whenever I'm heading to the beach, I'll usually throw my cash, cards, keys, or other small essentials in here just to protect them a little better from sand and moisture. I also sometimes use it for things like my AirPods or loop earplugs, simply because it keeps sand out much better than just throwing them loosely into my sling bag. It also makes switching between different bags much easier because instead of moving 10 small items one by one, I only have to grab this little pouch. It usually costs around $10 to $15, and while it's definitely not the most exciting product on today's list, it's one of those small organizers that has quietly become part of almost every trip I take. Our next beach essential is this Sea to Summit dry bag, and if you've ever rented a boat, gone kayaking, paddleboarding, or simply wanted to keep your valuables safe at the beach, you'll probably understand why I always bring one, because all it takes is one unexpected wave, a little rain, or putting your bag down on wet sand, and suddenly your phone, wallet, camera, or other electronics are at risk. That's exactly what this solves. You simply put your gear inside, roll the top down 3 or 4 times, clip it together, and just like that, everything inside is protected from water, sand, and dirt. Personally, I mostly use it whenever I'm out on a boat or know there's a chance my gear could get wet. It also gives me a lot more peace of mind because instead of constantly worrying about where I put my phone or camera, I know everything important is safely packed away. Depending on the size, it usually costs around $20 to $30, and if you spend a lot of time around water while traveling, I genuinely think it's one of those products you'll end up using much more often than you initially expect. Our next beach essential is these Fomin soap sheets, and this is one of those tiny products that I carry almost everywhere, especially during summer. Whether it's sunscreen, sand, sticky hands after eating, or simply sweat after spending hours at the beach, there are so many situations where you just want to properly wash your hands. The problem is that not every beach bar, public restroom, or small cafe actually has soap, and that's exactly why I always carry these. You simply take out one sheet, add a little bit of water, and within seconds it turns into normal hand soap. The whole pack is incredibly small, weighs almost nothing, and easily fits into any sling bag, wallet, or even your pocket. They also come in lots of different scents, as you can probably see. I usually go with the lemon version, but there are plenty of other options available as well. At around $10 to $11, I genuinely think they're one of those small everyday carry products that become surprisingly useful once you start carrying them. Especially during summer and beach trips, I almost always have a pack with me. Our next beach essential is the Loop Quiet 2 earplugs, and I guess they're basically the complete opposite of the JBL Clip 5 we talked about a few minutes ago. Because while that one is great for listening to your own music, these are for when someone else decides to throw a beach party for 10 people right next to your towel. I I've been using the Loop Quiet 2 for quite a while now, and they're easily my favorite earplugs for traveling. Unlike traditional foam earplugs, they don't just block out everything completely. Instead, they simply reduce the overall noise level, making the beach feel much calmer while you can still hear what's going on around you. They also come with multiple ear tip sizes, so it's easy to find a comfortable fit, and because they're made from soft silicone, I can comfortably wear them for hours without any problems. I like using them whenever I want to read a book, relax for a bit, take a nap at the beach, or simply block out some of the background noise around me. They usually cost around $25, and while that might sound a little expensive for earplugs at first, they're one of those products that I've ended up using not just at the beach, but on flights, trains, in hotels, and honestly almost everywhere I travel. For me, they've definitely been worth it. Our next beach essential is this beach powder from Bobalon, and I know this probably looks like one of the most unnecessary products in today's video, but if you've ever tried getting sand off your feet, legs, or hands before heading back to your car or hotel, you'll know how surprisingly annoying that can be. That's exactly what this is designed for. You simply sprinkle a little powder onto your skin, rub it in, and the sand comes off much more easily. I especially think this is a great little product if you're traveling with kids, because they're somehow always covered in sand from head to toe. It usually costs around $12, and from what I've heard, you can apparently achieve a very similar result with regular baby powder as well. I haven't actually tested that myself yet, so I can't really compare the two, but if that's true, it could be an even cheaper alternative. Either way, it's one of those fun little beach gadgets that solves a surprisingly annoying problem. Our next beach essential is this Kinetix tank from Graphene-X, and before we start, just for full transparency, they did send me this tank top for free, but they're not paying me to talk about it in this video. Now, I'll be honest, at around $60 to $65, this is definitely one of the most expensive tank tops I've ever tried. That's actually about what I usually pay for a Merino.tech t-shirt, so it's certainly not a cheap purchase. But after wearing it over the last couple of weeks, I genuinely understand where that price comes from. The first thing I noticed is just how incredibly lightweight it is. It weighs only around 110 grams, has a completely seamless construction, so there are no stitches rubbing against your skin. And thanks to the breathable, sweat-wicking fabric, it stays surprisingly comfortable even on really hot days. It also has antibacterial properties to help reduce odors, built-in UV protection, and because it's so lightweight, it honestly feels like you're barely wearing anything at all, which makes it perfect for a long beach day. For reference, I'm 6 feet 3 inches, 190 centimeters, weigh around 205 pounds, 93 kilograms, and I'm wearing a size large which fits me perfectly. Would I say everyone needs a $60 tank top? Probably not. But if you spend a lot of time outdoors, travel to hot countries regularly, or simply want the most comfortable tank top I've personally worn so far, I genuinely think it's a fantastic product. And if you do decide to pick one up, you can also save 15% with my exclusive discount code in the description below. Our next beach essential is these cruise towel bands, and I honestly think these make the most sense if you're going on a cruise, but they can also be surprisingly useful at the beach. The idea is really simple. You just wrap them around your towel and your beach chair or sun lounger so your towel stays exactly where it is instead of constantly sliding down or blowing away in the wind. They're small, weigh almost nothing, take up basically no space in your bag, and cost only around $8 to $10. It's definitely not a must-have for everyone, but if you've ever spent half the day adjusting your towel, it's one of those small gadgets that quietly makes the whole experience a little more enjoyable. Our next beach essential is this collapsible bowl, and I know this is probably another product that doesn't immediately scream beach essential, but I've actually found it surprisingly useful. Whether you're washing fruit, carrying snacks, mixing a small salad, or simply using it as a bowl for lunch at the beach, it's one of those products that's nice to have whenever you're spending a full day outside. The cool part is that it folds almost completely flat, so it barely takes up any space inside your backpack or beach bag. It also comes as a set of 2 different sizes, which makes it a lot more versatile depending on what you need it for. At around $14, it's definitely not an essential for everyone, but if you regularly spend long days at the beach, go camping, or enjoy outdoor picnics, I think it's a product you'll end up using more often than you initially expect. Last but not least, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, we have the Nanobag, and in my opinion, this is the perfect companion to the Tomtoc Sling Bag we started with, because while the sling is ideal for all of your everyday essentials, this gives you an extra 19 liters of space whenever you actually need it. Maybe you're bringing drinks and snacks to the beach, carrying wet towels on the way back, or simply bought a few more things than you expected. When you don't need it, it folds down incredibly small, takes up almost no space, and with a small carabiner like this one from Zealand, you can simply clip it onto your sling bag and completely forget it's even there. It usually costs around $15, and considering how compact it is, I genuinely think it's one of the smartest little travel products you can buy. For me, this together with the Tomtoc Sling Bag is the perfect beach setup, and unless you're traveling with kids or carrying a lot of extra gear, I really don't think you need much more than these 2 bags for a day at the beach. Alright, that's it for today's video, and if you're now looking for travel gadgets that are maybe a little less beach specific and a little more useful all year round, definitely check out the video right over here on the left, and if you haven't subscribed yet, you can do that right over here on the right. Thank you so much for watching all the way until the end, and as always, safe travels guys.